My name is Hannah Holmes and I'm the Deputy Faculty Pro-Vice Chancellor in Business and Law. So thinking about the work that's happened in the Faculty of Business and Law to narrow progression and awarding gaps, we have taken a multi-pronged approach, and we've tried to work collaboratively across the faculty to harness the skills and expertise people have got. So that's included our academic staff, our professional services colleagues, and also with our students. Thinking about the students' involvement first of all, we were engaged in the Big Change project. So the first department to take part was Accounting, Finance and Banking, and they were the only academic department to participate in phase one. So resulting from that were some specific actions for the department to think about and to take forward, and one of those was around staff representation, particularly in senior levels. So already that team have taken some steps to improve the diversity of people in leadership positions at senior level, and also in year tutors and programme leaders, so that there is greater role modelling and visibility of a more diverse range of staff across the department. The Big Change project was really successful. I think both parties, the students and the academics who were involved, found it to be a really useful conversation. And the engagement's been extended now, so there'll be another 2 departments in the faculty who are involved in the next academic year. And then in terms of how have we coordinated things, we've established a steering group in the faculty initially. That group's evolved now to the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Delivery Group, and that has got significant staff representation on there, student representation, and then some academic senior leaders and professional services colleagues, again to replicate the work that was happening in the initial steering group around education metrics predominantly, but with a broader remit to cover a much more kind of broad scope around inclusion, so staff experience as well will now start to be picked up by that group. And the whole spectrum of what we mean by inclusive communities. The kind of final piece then of that collaborative approach is working across universities. About 2 years ago, I spoke to colleagues at Salford, Liverpool John Moores and UCLan about this commitment towards closing award gaps, and we wanted to work together. So we established a Northwest Award Gap group, and we shared the situation in our respective business schools and our data, and we agreed that we would be transparent about wanting to close these gaps, and therefore that meant we needed to be open with each other about our current positions and what our data was showing, and to share with each other what we'd attempted. We then launched a series of action-focused information events where we brought panel members together around key themes and shared actions that had worked across the UK at different higher education institutions. And the purpose of that was to move the narrative on from a collective agreement that award and progression gaps are not good and we should do something about them, to here is something that I did that you could try in your institution because the data shows it works. In our final event, we talked to the attendees who'd been on that journey with us about what do they want to see, what do they need from this group to continue to make progress. And they spoke about the importance of focusing on actions continuing, but also about a need for information to be collated somewhere. So our next steps are around setting up a repository of best practice for people to deposit information about projects they've undertaken, share resources, so that we can continue in that much more collaborative approach across the sector of a joint commitment to narrow award and progression gaps. And then there have been some very specific projects that started. So we had a big review of the curriculum in accounting and finance, for example, because their gaps were really significant. So we talked about our different approaches to assessment and where we were seeing the different types of assessment might yield different results for different groups of students, and what could we do about that to vary assessments or change assessments. And that particularly then started to focus in on BTEC students. We wanted to raise our awareness of what a BTEC qualification involved, what had students' experience been before coming to university. So we launched the Feeder College project, where we went out to colleges as upskilling ourselves and then bringing that knowledge back into our classrooms so that the transition was easier. And in accounting and finance, where that initially launched, they've seen the progression gaps have reversed for BAME students and significantly narrowed for BTEC students. And that's been rolled out now across the faculty. That's really been what we've done in the Faculty of Business and Law, and as I say, we have tried to share that across the university and support other people with those things.